Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope y'all are doing well wherever you are in the world. I need you all to do me a huge favor. Toss up a 1 if you can hear me. Can everybody hear me okay? Fantastic. Good stuff. Appreciate the sound check. Having some... I don't know if you noticed, I got going 1 minute or 2 minutes late, which I never do. I'm usually always on time. The moment I clicked start stream, my microphone went down. But it looks like I fixed it. Improvement. Good stuff. Shiva, good morning. Jay, Scrappy-Doo, Oso. Probably butchering all these names. Good morning to you all. Shaky, good morning. Should be a pretty good, interesting stream today. I've got a whole list of pairs that I've gone and looked at prior to starting. Some of them being currency pairs, so obviously I won't be trading those, but I'm going to go through, talk about them with you all. Well, let's get going. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a fantastic trading week thus far, leading us into Wednesday, which is day 3 of the week. Before I get started, I always have to tell you that I am not a financial advisor. Information on this channel is provided for education and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. Please feel free to pause the stream, read this. That way you know I'm not a financial advisor. Good stuff. Hope you all are doing well. We're going to start out on the Nasdaq as always, but before we get going, what is the purpose of A plus B equals C? What in the world does that mean? Why do you use that? The reason that I do that is really for the purpose of explaining what to look for in the setup, and just the fact that they're setups in general. The market creates certain patterns within the course of multiple days. It's basically like the market cycles that it goes through, and that's where these setups are based from. So if I'm looking at certain things, kind of like a math equation, if you will, you know, what do I need to do in order to put the equation together correctly? So for the different types of setups, like breakout, trend sort of trades, breakout, pullback, and trend, you know, where is my A at? It's going to be the first day where a range was created, just basically a high and a low. And then the second day would be the day that the market broke out. We get a breakout close. And then that is going to possibly equal C. That's going to be the day that you're looking to take the trade, or that I'm looking to take the trade. 3-day rectangles. If you have a day that creates a high and a low, and then this would be your A. And then the second day puts in a peak formation high and low, spiking both the previous day's high and previous day's low. And then maybe on this, you know, on day C, now you're looking for the explosive move. Any one of these templates, right? Inside bars creates a range. B would be your inside day, and then C is the day that you either get your reversal or your trend trade. It's just a really good way, I think, of explaining. You know, usually you would use like day 1, day 2, day 3, but there's so many different types of day 1, 2, and 3s you have within the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You have the 3-day cycle, which can be any days of the week. So sometimes it can get a little confusing. So this is how I've been using a way of explaining just A plus B equals C. And also because that really just, it just shows that these show up over and over and over again in the exact same way, which is really great. So just take a look at these real quick, because these templates have shown up over the course of Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and that's what we're going to be searching for right now in the stream. The breakout, the first green, first red day templates, 3 days of breakouts, which Nasdaq gave a really good reversal trade yesterday. based off those 3 days of breakouts. Inside bar reversals, you get the inside bar range expansions, peak high, peak low, the 3-day rectangles. Definitely be paying attention to these two here because I saw a few of those already. I've seen quite a few of this template already as well playing out or possibly looking to play out. I didn't see as many of these, the 3 days of breakouts on the front side of the week coming into this Wednesday. But I did see, these were from yesterday, basically inside bars. We were looking at those a bit yesterday, but they could play into today. We'll see. And I actually didn't really observe too many first red or first green days, but I didn't really look that hard. I just kind of looked at these, and let's get into it now. So let's start off with the Nasdaq. This is a 1 hour chart, and I'll go down to a 15-minute, but we'll go starting out on the 1 hour. You can kind of just see the big picture. Last week was a breakout week. We closed in breakout outside of the previous week's high. So we're in breakout to the upside. Now, yesterday, we got the day one of breakouts to the upside. They triggered the load back here on Wednesday, which is a reset. And then we get breakout day one, breakout day two, breakout day three on Monday. And then that leads us into breakout day four, or a possible signal from the previous day to look for the setup yesterday. Obviously, great trade. For those of you that caught it, I know a few in the Discord did. I personally did not, but it was set up really well from the high of the day, where this trades back up into the high at a certain time of day, and you can kind of see the three little pushes here going up into the high, and then it starts to break down at a perfect time, 9:25, and then going into 9:30. I honestly didn't notice it until we got all the way down here, and I didn't really want to chase it, and also with my entry criteria for waiting for that lower low first and then waiting for a pullback, I just wasn't able to take this trade. So that's unfortunate, but for those of you that took it, great stuff. All right, now let's talk about the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday template leading into today. And all of you should be jumping out of your chair and screaming that you already see what I'm talking about just based off of that fancy little drawing that I had on the previous slide. Not even slide, but just previous screen here. All right, looking for playbook templates and just looking at how the last 3 days have set up in order for me to know what to look for on the day. So we had Monday, which is the opening range for the week. That sets the initial high and low of the week. On Tuesday, typically expanding the range either higher or lower, they expanded on both sides and then closed back up on the inside of Monday's range. So what has happened now is they started on Monday, A, gave us a peak high and peak low on Tuesday, B, and then now we're leading into C today. So I'm either going to possibly get a parabolic reversal or trend trade is really my only two options. And I'm just going to watch how the day presents itself in order for me to look to time or enter into that trade. Some levels that we could be looking at: previous day's close. Also, high and low of the current day. And then on the day, looking at structure and how things have been built. On the day itself, making lower lows and lower highs, and then making a higher high now. This is, of course, just on the day, all internal. But this is the kind of things that I would be looking for or looking at going into the session. We have a peak formation made at the low of the day, double bottom reversal, higher high. And then now we're maybe working back down into or towards the low of the day. So I'm going to mark this off. This is all in a 1 bar range, so this doesn't count enough for me to mark this as a high for a pullback. However, this went down far enough, so I'm going to mark this off as my high. The structural levels on the inside have a lot less relevance. However, this is how I look to enter the market or look for direction, if you will. So we got a lower low and then a higher high. Oh, what in the world? Whatever. So I can look at this now and look at the pattern and look for squeezes based off of this 3-day rectangle. Another thing, notice how I've marked this off as a level to possibly be watching the breakout levels that have failed, creating that rectangle or sitting on the inside of that consolidation. This is going to be my rectangle for measuring if this goes vertical and continues to the upside or downside, whichever way. But if I enter this trade, that is how I would be looking for range expansions or expansions of the range. I'm going to use certain levels, high and low of the current day as a target. I'm going to use previous days high and low as a target, and then I'm going to use, possibly, depending on how it's actually moving, expansions of the range as a target. And I do that pretty much every single time there's a 3-day rectangle. That is how I'm gauging take profits. How does everybody feel with Nasdaq after seeing this? How many of you saw this before I even said anything and were hopefully waiting for me just to explain exactly what you saw? Day 0 setup. Yep. Fauci, good stuff. Okay, 3-day rectangle. And then today's C. I'm going to put up here what I'm looking for, so that way if you all are taking notes off the screen, or for those of you coming back to look at this, I hate futures. Interesting. A little confused on when to enter. Hey, so Bean, I'm not going to tell you how to enter or when to enter or anything like that. I think that's a big thing that you should develop for yourself. But I will show you my process to enter, so that way maybe you can go off of this or use it to maybe either build your own or copy mine or do whatever you'd like. This is how I enter every single trade. And I miss a lot of trades because of this, and that's fine with me. I've just accepted it. Like Nasdaq yesterday. They hadn't made a lower low yet, so I couldn't enter. So I just missed the trade. But I look at structure on the day. I look at the overall template over the course of 3 days, and then on the day itself, I use this. Okay, and then sometimes, you know what? I don't trade. Sometimes I won't enter it at all. Like, for example, if this squeeze just looks like doo-doo and it just doesn't actually start to squeeze, then I just won't get in. So today, looking for short squeeze. I'm just going to put squeeze because it could be a long as well. Squeeze. Looking for parabolic channels. These parabolic channels is a price action pattern. Basically, you start getting the market pulling in a direction, pulling in a direction, pulling in a direction, little to no overlap in the bars, and then the market starts to go vertical. And I'm trying to get in on the vertical move. Okay, good stuff. Let's go on to US 30. We'll go to the 1 hour and zoom out a little bit. I'm going to take a look at last week just to make sure that we're not doing anything weird. So, US 30, we had an inside. Ooh, maybe not. Okay, this was not an inside week. I take it back. But we did have an inside week last week. Last week did not trigger previous week's high. They did not trigger previous week's low. It was inside altogether. Double check what I just said. Good. And then this week now, we are also still currently on the inside of a previous week's high and on the inside of a previous week's low. So maybe not all sides or all time frames of the market are being involved in this move right now. Weekly chart, monthlies, maybe not involved. Who knows? So let's take a look at this week. We're on the inside, so I've already identified potentially a lower probability market. We're going into a period of contraction. Eventually, we'll go into a period of expansion, but I don't know when that's going to happen. So all I can do is look for the 3-day setup if it shows up or starts to present. So let's zoom out a little bit. Last Thursday, we had a breakout day to the upside. And then we had Friday as an inside day or an inside bar on a daily chart, which was also a bit of a first red day. Okay, we had a large pump up. We triggered the previous day's low down here. They tried to go higher. They retested the high, and then you get a first red day. Now, on the next day, which was Monday, I know Friday to Monday wasn't the next day, the next trading day, Monday, which was that holiday, is also an inside day. So we have this double inside day. And also, maybe, Okay, maybe not necessarily a first green day, but it is a day that opened and then closed near its highs, and so it's a down close bar, then an up close bar, inside bar. Now on the next day, this is where I would say, okay, well, this is a first red. We've triggered a previous day's low. Maybe this is going to be a trap. So I would project the close across and take a look yesterday for Tuesday. And you can kind of see that this was definitely another pretty decent trade for a trap opportunity, first green day trap. Large pumping day, A. B. C. We didn't get follow through on C. If you go back and watch any of my first red or first green day videos talking about traps or the moving of the day from this day to the next, this is one of those templates. Okay, so now Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm basically telling the story from left to right, and we're leading into Wednesday for today. We had an inside day, and we had a day that attempted to go lower and closed. Didn't close in breakouts. We're also double inside, or we're inside of the previous week's high and low. So what I'm going to do right now, thinking about templates and whatnot, maybe this is going to turn into a 3-day template, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So what kind of template could we be in? I need to project the close across to try and identify trap volume. And with how the current pattern is looking, I'm going to actually just project the breakout level across. Now, why do you think that I am doing this? I'll let you all type that out, or probably won't type anything, and that's fine too. But it's a question to just think about in your head. This is going to be the market only does 3 things sort of opportunity. It's levels, Fauci, absolutely. And one of the things is, hey, maybe this is a lower low on a daily chart structurally, right? This could be a break back down. We've already got the break down here, previous week's low, and then maybe this is the break down. They've pumped it back up 3 peaks and gone into consolidation. Okay, they've gone into consolidation and have broken back down. Break down, pull back, levels, and then maybe this is the first pullback. Maybe this is a pump and dump. Already in the short. All right. Yeah. So that's the thought process. The break to the downside. This is actually a playbook sort of setup as well. This is exactly the same as a first green day trap, except on a weekly template level, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I can actually go, I hate just saying, hey, this is whatever, and then not showing you all. So let me go and pull up this slideshow. Hold on. I know I should have already had it prepped. Let's take a look at the tips and tricks slide that we all know and love. Okay. Failed breakout on a Tuesday. High probability of reaching the other end of the opening range, except we could be looking at, unless we could continue the trend. What happens if it's a double failure? It breaks down and then it breaks, it breaks out, it fails. It looks like maybe it's going to go back up to the upside because it's day 1 of the 3-day cycle. And then it starts to roll back over. All right. This is why these levels are so important. Anyways, I'll stop rambling. This is exactly what the thought process is going to be for me today. I'm going to go down to a 5 and see on the day, are we making lower lows and lower highs? We had a higher high, lower low, break in structure to the downside, first pullback. And I have a strong feeling the EMA probably looked something like this, and then it started to go flat, and then it broke down, and it started to pull, and then it probably looks a little something like this. Now, I don't know, but after saying that with a weird prediction, let's see kind of what it looks like. Holy cow. All right, so not a bad prediction. Not bad. But this is a trade setup. Lower low, first pullback. This is where I'm trying to get in. Typically, it's not 9:30, so I'm not going to. But that would be the idea if it was a perfect time of day. All right. Everybody good with US 30? Hopefully this makes sense on how to actually make this information useful. For all 76 of you in here, that is always my goal of these streams, is not to just sit here and ramble aimlessly into the abyss. I'm doing this for a purpose. All 76 of you, I'm hoping, are benefiting in a way that you can actually use this. But it's 8:22 in the morning and I'm highly caffeinated, so if I'm talking really fast, well, that's why. All right, we're going to the Russell. Take a look at this. All right, 1 hour chart. We're being a bit flat. Let me get this email off the screen because it's going to stress me out having too many things up there. I always talk really fast. Yeah, I know I'm trying. I do my best, I promise. Okay, Monday's opening range. Tuesday, we hit both sides of the range, and this is a 1 hour chart. They spiked the low, they spiked the high, and they actually broke out to the upside. So opening range, inside day. Let's take a look at the previous week's high and low real quick and just kind of take a gander. We'll take a stare. Okay, so we're still on the inside. Last week was also an inside week. Previous week's low, previous week's high. This week here did not trigger either. So we're still heavily on the inside of this as well. Then we get an inside day, then we get a breakout day. Now, ignoring the previous week's high and low, the fact that maybe not all of the money is driving this market, we're coiled, again, going into it, if you just want to put it in other terms or phrases. We're in a period of contraction, and we're waiting for a period of expansion, and the only thing that we can do to identify when that's going to happen could be through 3-day setups or waiting for one of those levels to be broken. So, Monday, opening range of the week. Tuesday, breakout day. We broke out to the upside. The market only does 3 things. That should always be my next thought process. We broke out of a daily level and closed. The market only does 3 things, so I'm going to project this level across. And on the next day, I can either look for a trend trade or a reversal trade, depending on the day. So looking at this, we got 3 peaks to the high of the day. We didn't trigger any levels. We're still on the inside. We have a peak formation high, peak formation low, consolidation up high. It starts to break down, make lower lows and lower highs. What time is this? Okay, so this is the wrong time of day. Now we're going into the US session. It's like, well, what do I do? I got to tell you, with this pair, I think it's going to be a nothing sort of pair for me. Spike to the high, spike to the low. We're heavily on the inside. We're broken down. It's looking like maybe we're going for previous day's low, but I don't want to guess. I think this is probably a do nothing pair for me. We got news at 8:30. Do we have any other news? FOMC minutes this afternoon. Okay. Look forward to your analysis on GJ. Yep, I've got it up here. It's one of the ones I wanted to look at, but I'm going to move on because this is probably a do nothing for me. GU as well. I'll toss GU up there if I can get to it. All right, gold. Gold has been unstoppable to the upside. We just keep going. Fantastic. Last week was a breakout week, just about, I think. Closed, not quite in breakout, but just, just underneath. And then now we have traded back up towards the previous week's high. And we've actually triggered the previous week's high today. So how many weeks up do we have? I think it was like excess of 7. I think we've gone up for 7 weeks or something. Friday, we broke out to the downside. We triggered previous day's low. We pumped it back up now to the high of the previous week and triggered the high. Yesterday was a breakout day. Again, project this level across. And let's go down to a lower time frame. So now I have a bigger time frame feel. Yesterday was an opening range breakout. Oh man, it kind of hurts to see. Asia makes a higher high. Pull back into the beginning of a session. Oh, it's not quite the beginning of a session. Okay, London. This is London's open. Looks good. Peak formation, low of day. Asia made the higher high. This is the higher high, the dump. Consolidation, higher high for the pump to go vertical back up through the high. So there was already a session trade in London. And then now we've made a higher high again and pulled back. So what could this trade turn into? Again, market only does three things. We're either going to dump it back down into the beginning of a session for a trend trade back up through the high, or 9:30 opens up at the high, we get a lower low on the inside, or a lower low in general, and I can look for a reversal trade back towards the low of the day if that were to present. I think this is a very clean chart at the very least. Is it my favorite template out of the templates that I look for? I would argue and say no. But the levels are very clear. The chart is trading very clean. Maybe worth watching the high of the day to see kind of how it behaves once it gets there. If it gets there. But nothing too crazy. How many days of breakouts back up? Triggering of the low. Yeah, and we're on day 3. We're at day 3 at the high of the week after previous week's high has been triggered as well. I want to add that note in there. Just letting me know that this is a higher probability opportunity because we've already triggered a higher time frame level. Yesterday's close, maybe. Kind of just auctioning around that. The chart up until this point over here looks really clean. And the way that this is broke back down in the gap time, which is kind of a big question mark. Whenever I see something performing perfect opportunities or perfect trade setups in the gap time, it makes me automatically think that maybe the session is going to be a wash. And a lot of times it is. Not every time, but a lot of times. Yeah, we do have a bit of a 3 peak. Peak 1, peak 2. Maybe we hit peak 3 at the high and then roll over, fade it back down. We could. Who knows? We'll see. I think those are good options. And out of the indexes and things that I've looked at this far, I'm not saying that gold is the most perfect opportunity. I really liked the Nasdaq. Like, I really like the Nasdaq, but I just don't think it's quite there yet. This retest of the low right now is either going to develop into the retest of the low of the day fails, or we continue to make lower lows and lower highs after this, and then I will know, hey, this is not for me. US 30. This was a really good option for that person who said they were already short, in my opinion. It's just a little early in the morning, so I don't think that I could have obviously done this, but this is set up really well. It just might be the wrong time of day for me to execute. So these two indexes, the Russell's a wash. Gold is not a bad option for me as well. So I'll keep watching these 3, and then let's go to gold or silver, excuse me. And we'll take a look at silver. All right, silver had this big peak formation high on Friday. Then we get a Monday. They triggered the low, peak formation low. Now we're broken back up towards the upside. And this is one that has not triggered previous week's high or low just yet. Let's go down. I don't really have anything in mind in particular for this one. But this is a breakout day. And so I need to project this across. This is good price action, though. Right back up here at the high. 3 peaks. Maybe a lower low. Yeah, I don't really have anything in particular for this one. This little pin down here starting to pump back up towards the high. And a really clean peak formation high and potentially a lower low. So I think what I would do with this is I would say, hey, this kind of looks like maybe it's a lower low, but we haven't triggered previous week's high, so that's concerning. Make sure it's not some weird 3-week setup. No. I'm going to put a question mark here. I think I might glance at this a little bit later, but the way that this is consolidating here in this little rectangular box, I just want to make sure that it's not going to go back up to the high. How would you trade a heavily trending market? So I think that is going to be probably 3 days of breakouts. Wait for them to trigger the other side of the market. Wait for a lower low. Wait for... I'd be waiting for maybe a first red day or a first green day to go the other way. A breakout day in the opposite direction. So, for example, if we're trending in one direction and I've got 3 days of breakouts in one direction, I could say, okay, well, I'm going to wait for a lower low and maybe the front side of a move to be broken. So then I can take the 3-day setup back in the other direction. It doesn't even really have to go that far. It just has to go far enough, you know. The other thing could be maybe we're trending in a direction and then we get a breakout day in the opposite direction. And now I can look for a 3-day setup based off of that. It could also be we're trending in a direction and then they're up high or down low. And then you get a first red day and you could be looking for a reversal that way. So any of those options are usually pretty good. But in a very strongly trending market, it is definitely best to wait for a strong signal and for the chart to look a certain way, or else you're just going to get caught in the trend continuation, and you're going to be trying to catch the trend continuation all the way up or all the way down, or the reversal, excuse me. You'd be trying to catch the reversal all the way up or all the way down, when the easy trade was obviously in the other direction. All right. Yep. Interesting. We could be maybe breakout pullback, or maybe we're going back to retest the high. We'll see. 8:30 was the news. What did it look like? Nice. Looking good. I can already see. I have a feeling these are developing into the session. This is going to be good. Hopefully they continue to develop well. Let's go to oil. We'll take a little look. Start out on the 1-hour chart, zoom out, look for a 3-day setup, see if there's one. If not, we'll move on. This oil is also trading on the inside of previous week's high and low. I think they penned through the low at the beginning of the week. Day 1 of the 3-day cycle. This is also a peak formation high, peak formation low template. We were going down. They spiked the high, traded back down into the low. First green day on Monday. So this is first green day on Monday. Also day 1 of the 3-day cycle in a peak formation high, peak formation low template. And then yesterday, looking for a 3-day template coming into Wednesday today, which there should be oil inventories today at 10:30 if I'm not mistaken, unless they adjusted the times or something. Please let me know which one of those it is. If it's 10:30, great. If it's, sometimes they put it at like 11 or something like that. Breakout day yesterday. So this is an opening range breakout now to the upside. All right, so after an opening range breakout, again, the market only does 3 things. I project this level across. I can measure down 3 levels of drop. I can look for Asia to make a higher high, London to pull back, New York to be the trade. I could look for they trigger the previous day's high and they pull back down in a consolidation, breakout pullback, and then continue to go vertical back up. So in this case, what's happened is instead of any of those scenarios that I just told you, this is looking at the adaptation of the template and trying to think, use critical thinking skills, if you will. Instead of doing any of those things, which they did over here, they've just dragged higher and higher and higher. And oil inventories is tomorrow this week. Thank you, TR. I appreciate that. And now we've broken out peak 1, peak 2, peak 3, lower low. And then now we're trading back up to retest the high of the day at the high of the current week. Maybe, and I don't know, maybe that's what I need to look for. We're at the high of the current week. This is a playbook opportunity. We have a lower low back down. We've gone back up to retest the high, possibly in 3 pushes. I don't know if it's going to go back down, but I know that I can watch how the market behaves at this level. This is the high of the day prior to the session beginning. Yep, this is back from London. So I can watch this level and see how they behave now at that level, and we'll see. Okay, nothing crazy on this. Yesterday was just an opening range breakout, so I have a scenario of Asia triggers the high, London pulls back, New York is the trade. That didn't happen. Asia or London triggers the high, and then pulls back, goes into consolidation down low at the breakout level, and then goes vertical. That didn't happen. Instead, we've just been pulling higher and higher, and I need to look at how the template is evolving. Okay. So that's pretty much all of the pairs that I look at on a day-to-day basis. I actually don't even look at silver on a day-to-day basis. Okay, this may be getting better. We don't know. I need to let some bars close. So for this, I would start looking for them to let shorts back into profit and maybe start breaking back down to the downside if I was going to take this trade. If not, and it just continues to go vertical back towards the high of the day, then 2 thumbs up. Have a great day. But I don't usually watch silver. I might watch it today. I don't know. Let's go to the New Zealand US dollar, one that I don't typically look at. Really not even when I traded Forex. But all right, so Friday, big breakout day. Notice Wednesday, peak formation low. Thursday, breakout. Friday, breakout. Monday, right? Monday's the opening range of the week. Tuesday is a breakout day. So this is why I've added this to the list, because it could be a 3-day template, right? This breakout day over here. So remember, train your eyes, project these levels across horizontally. Train yourself to kind of see those. If you look at the breakout level from Friday, they've triggered or gone back down and stopped that guy out. This poor soul was holding on for dear life. Please just continue to go up. He's got his stops at break even. They come down and hit him. So he's been stopped out. Now, yesterday was a breakout day, so this is the most important part of the puzzle to me. I need to project this level across, and then I need to look at how today is behaving and performing. Let's go down to a 15. We got a lower low and a higher high on the day. And then let's see, we can go and look at how it's performing. Does this guy ever take a position? I don't know what that means. I think you've missed the purpose of the stream. All right, we got a higher high. And then a lower low on the day itself. Okay, market only does 3 things. So I'm watching this breakout level. I would be. Trigger previous day's low. So maybe a pump and dump on the day. I don't know. This might not be... The reason I added this in here is because it might be interesting for any of you that maybe watch Forex pairs. By any means, by no means do I think this is going to go back down. Just watching on the day to look at the facts. Watching this breakout level. All right, let's go on to the Australia dollar, US dollar. Okay, the reason I added this one in it's one of the 3-day templates, right? The breakout. Now we got peak formation high, peak formation low, so a 3-day rectangle. And we're back on the inside. So again, very similar to some of those other pairs. I'm looking for squeezes. I'm looking for, some kind of parabolic channel. And I think this is actually, I don't really like this pair. I've never liked it. I think it kind of looks weird. It just, a lot of wicks. But this is pretty clean. Especially on the day. It's looking kind of clean. Okay, Euro. Let's see, why did I add this one in here? Okay, so the Euro is another one of those. We had an inside day on Monday. We had a breakout day on Friday, but Monday was an inside bar and also a first red day, or potentially first red. Yep. And then Tuesday was a breakout day one to the downside. So again, this is why would have been focused on this. Breakout day one to the downside, and then on the day itself, it looks like there's probably already a trade in Asia, or excuse me, London. Take a look at that. Now they've triggered the previous day's low. So maybe there's a little bit of evolution, or maybe it's already played out. Breakout day one to the downside, measure up 3 levels, and you get 3 peaks. Peak formation high being made just prior to the London session beginning. I don't know if did anybody in here trade this in London? Anybody see this or notice this? And actually, structurally, if you look at the previous day, this lower low over here, this is the high up here. So all of this is just internal. You get the 3 peaks back to the high. When it starts to break back down, really kind of green light already to go short. Anyways, we'll go to pound yen. Take a look at this thing. Monday was breakout day 1 to the downside. Opening range for the week. Peak formation low. Yesterday, breakout day 1 back up to the upside. Peak formation high. And then that leads us into today. So we have a lower low and then attempt to go higher, spiking the high. And then that just leaves us with today's price action. So again, this is going to be on the day, just looking for squeezes. I included this one because I thought the price action on the day is immaculate. Creeping trend. They can only result in 2 ways, either a blow off or a strong reversal. So I think this is definitely one worth watching for any of you that's maybe is interested in watching this pair. They made the higher high. They've been coming back down. So all I would be doing is watching the time of day and then watching for the pattern. So lower lows, lower highs right now. There's my high. I would be watching. Maybe it makes a higher high and then pulls back. Maybe we start breaking back out to the upside. Maybe this turns into a trend trade. Trend trade being Asia makes a higher high, London pulls back and goes into consolidation, and New York is the trade to go vertical back towards the high of the day. That's a valid thesis. Could be. If it continues to just make lower lows and lower highs, then I know that thesis is wrong. But yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns about any of these? Hopefully this has helped. Hopefully this has helped the thought process. That's the whole purpose of these streams. Thesis building. Being capable of coming up with a solid hypothesis based off of factual information and a certain trading style. Euro, Australian dollar. Okay. Invisible, yeah, I would be waiting for a higher high basically to form. But if it keeps making lower lows and lower highs, then obviously that thesis is wrong, and it's probably going back to the low of the day or maybe even the low of the week. Okay, Euro, Australian dollar, so very similar. Again, it's not about what the chart when you're building the 3-day setup or the 3-day thesis, it's not about, man, what does the chart look like? It's more about how did it close on the previous day? What has happened in the previous 2 days? High, low, open, close. Monday's opening range creates a high and a low. Yesterday, opening range breakout to the downside. So what do? I immediately say, okay, the market can only do 3 things. I'm going to project this level across, and I'm going to look for either a reversal template or a trend template. On the day, I'm going to look for certain types of opportunities. Asia makes a lower low and pulls back. This was actually an Asian trade because they triggered right at the beginning of the day. This is the pump and dump that we all know and love, hopefully. I just made a video on it on Saturday. And pretty much my entire channel revolves around this pattern. So does Stacey's. So triggering previous day's low and then pumping it back up in a market that's broken out to the downside. Peak formation high at the high of the day, drops down a level and goes sideways in consolidation and goes vertical back down to where that move began. All right, now so now we're looking at evolution of a template. This was the trade. This was perfect. I don't necessarily want to accept anything less than perfect, but I can at least look and see, how is it evolving. We're making lower lows and lower highs on the day. We're at the low of the current week. Have we triggered any levels? Let me zoom out. Sorry, hold on. Okay, we got previous week's low down over here. We have not touched it yet. Did they trigger previous? No, they did not. Okay. So lower lows and lower highs on the day. I'm going to mark off my high. Maybe we're just trading back up into the high, but this also kind of looks a little head and shoulders-y. But I'm not going to view it that way. It's just, I think that this was probably the perfect trade based off template, based off of setups, based off of high probability 90-10. And everything after this is probably just going to be questionable. Yeah, that too. Peak 1, peak 2, peak 3, peak formation at the low of the day, first pullback. Maybe we're going back up. I don't know. Maybe. All right, pound dollar. I think that I had looked at this one and I wasn't sure, and that's why I didn't throw it into the list. We got an inside day yesterday, and then today's triggered both sides of the range, and that was pretty much it. So with an inside day, right? Because I'm looking for templates. I'm looking for, I'm not trying to trade direction. That's not my best opportunity, if you will. The perfect opportunity would have been either a three push stair step into the high or into the low for a reversal trade, or some kind of breakout pullback for a trend trade. Are we in breakout? Yeah, we're in breakout to the upside. And now we've triggered both sides of the day and dumped it back down. So, on the day, it's going to be a little bit tough, I think, to... I feel like I'd probably be guessing direction. It's nice to have seen both levels being triggered. If you forced me to trade this and said, hey, you have to do this, I'm only going to look for 2 things. Either reversal off the low of the day to go back towards the high of the day in a market that is trending higher. We're in breakout to the upside. And we already triggered previous day's high, so this could be the higher high on the day and for the week. They dump it back down into the low as a retest. On the day itself, they make a higher high, they pull back, and then they would go vertical back up to the upside. That would be one variation. The second variation, and the only other option that I would have for thought process and for setups, would be they just trigger previous day's low. Maybe this is a pump and a dump. There's the pen, the anchor point. They've traded it back up. They're retesting the high. 9:30 opens up and goes vertical to the downside. They've triggered previous day's low. Maybe we're going back towards somewhere else. We've been in consolidation, so I need to probably project this level across. All right, those are my only two options for this for the person that asked. At the very least, the chart looks very clean. It's a nice looking chart. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hope you've enjoyed the stream. Hopefully this has been beneficial to you. As you're out the door and walking out of the stream, please hit the like button on the stream. It does help quite a bit. I really appreciate it. I will see you all. I do these streams every Wednesday and Friday starting at 8 a.m., walking through the analysis process leading into the session, just to have a better mindset and to go into things with a lot more clarity, which builds patience and helps you know what to look for. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.